You've been told you're too sensitive your whole life, too emotional, too reactive. You take things too personally, you feel things too deeply, you need to toughen up, develop thicker skin, stop letting everything affect you so much. What if every single person who told you that was missing the most important part of the story? Because what they called a weakness has a name in neuroscience. It has a biological mechanism, and it is not a flaw that needs fixing. It is a trait that needs understanding. Some people are neurologically wired to feel more, not metaphorically, literally, at the level of brain structure and nervous system response. Let's start with the neuroscience. Research by psychologist Elaine Aron established that roughly 20% of the population carries a trait called sensory processing sensitivity, a nervous system that processes emotional information more deeply than average. Neuroimaging research in brain and behavior found that highly sensitive individuals show significantly greater activation in the insula, the brain region responsible for empathy and emotional sensation. Your brain is not overreacting. It is processing more. The volume isn't broken. It was set higher than most people's from the beginning. If this is already resonating with you, subscribe to Quiet Wiring. This is exactly the kind of science we break down every single week. But sensitivity isn't only about brain structure. For many people, intense emotional experience is connected to nervous system dysregulation shaped by early environment. When you grow up where emotional safety was inconsistent, where love was unpredictable, conflict was frequent, or your feelings were dismissed, your nervous system calibrates to high alert. It learns to feel everything intensely because intensity was information. Noticing the subtle shift in a parent's tone before they exploded was a survival skill. Reading the emotional temperature of every room kept you safe. That calibration doesn't reset when the environment changes. It travels into adulthood where the same nervous system that protected you as a child now makes a difficult conversation feel catastrophic and minor criticism feel devastating. There is also a dopamine dimension that rarely gets discussed. Research on dopamine receptor sensitivity found that people with certain genetic variants process dopamine differently, experiencing both rewards and disappointments more acutely than average. This is strongly associated with ADHD, but extends well beyond it. For these individuals, good news feels euphoric and bad news feels crushing, not because they are emotionally immature, but because their neurochemistry amplifies the signal in both directions. You are not being dramatic. You are experiencing a measurably different neurological reality. Understanding the source of your intensity changes how you relate to it. Instead of spending energy trying to feel less, which is exhausting and largely neurologically impossible, you focus on building what researchers call emotional granularity, the ability to precisely name what you are feeling in any given moment. Neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett found that people with high emotional granularity, those who can distinguish between anxious versus overwhelmed versus disappointed versus afraid, recover from difficult emotional experiences significantly faster than those who experience emotion as one undifferentiated wave of distress. Naming the specific emotion activates your prefrontal cortex and reduces amygdala activation almost immediately. The second tool is environment design. Highly sensitive nervous systems require more recovery time, more intentional stimulation management, and more deliberate creation of calm. This is not indulgence, it is neuroscience. A Formula One engine requires more careful maintenance than a standard engine, not because it is inferior, but because it operates at a higher level of precision. You were never too much. You were never broken. You were always exactly as much as your nervous system was built to be in a world that never took the time to explain what that meant.